What if I told you that the man who spent years fining neighbors for the tiniest infractions, like a mailbox that was half an inch too low or grass that dared to grow a fraction over the limit, was secretly stealing tens of thousands of dollars from every single one of us? And when I finally uncovered proof and blew the whistle, he didn't just lose his position. He turned the entire neighborhood against me, and now I genuinely fear they're coming for my home. Stick around, because this is the story of how exposing our HOA president's massive embezzlement scheme turned my quiet suburban life into a nightmare, and why I'm still fighting back today. Hey everyone, it's Alex here. If you're new to my channel, I share real stories from community living, the good, the bad, and the outright insane. But this one's personal. I've lived in this beautiful gated neighborhood in a mid-sized suburban town for over 8 years now. My wife and I moved here for the amenities. The pool, the walking trails, the sense of security. We thought the HOA was just there to keep things nice. Boy, were we wrong. I never planned to become the guy who takes down an HOA president. I'm just a regular dad with a 9-to-5 job in IT, coaching Little League on weekends. But when the fines started piling up unfairly, and our community funds seemed to vanish into thin air, I couldn't stay silent anymore. I decided to dig deeper because someone had to stand up for all of us who were getting squeezed. Little did I know that decision would uncover a secret so big it would shatter everything, and put a target on my back. It all started small, the way these things always do. About 3 years ago, our HOA dues went up by 20% overnight. The official reason? Rising maintenance costs and necessary repairs to the clubhouse roof. Fair enough, right? Except the roof never got fixed. Then came the endless fines. One neighbor got hit with $500 for parking his work van in his own driveway overnight. Something he'd done for years with no issue. Another family was fined repeatedly for their kids' chalk drawings on the sidewalk, even after they washed them away. My own turning point came when I got a $200 violation notice for my holiday lights being up 2 days past the January 1st takedown deadline. I appealed at the next board meeting, but there he was, Mr. Robert Hargrove, our HOA president for over a decade, sitting at the head of the table like a king on his throne. He dismissed my appeal with a smirk, saying, "Rules are rules, Alex. Pay up or face liens." That night, I went home fuming. Why was one man wielding so much power? And why did the board, his hand-picked yes-men, never push back? Neighbors whispered about selective enforcement. Hargrove's lawn was always pristine, but his buddy on the board got away with a rusted shed for months. The pool filtration system broke down twice last summer, leaving it closed for weeks, yet Hargrove bragged about record reserves in his quarterly emails. Something didn't add up. I started requesting financial records, something every homeowner has a right to do. At first, they dragged their feet. Processing delays, they said, but after persistent emails and showing up to meetings, they finally handed over a stack of statements. That's when the red flags started waving. I spent weeks poring over those documents in my home office late at night, spreadsheets open next to me while my family slept. I'm no accountant, but even I could see inconsistencies. Vendor payments to a landscaping company called Green Horizon Services totaled over $80,000 in 1 year alone, way more than our neighborhood needed. And get this, the invoices were vague, no itemized breakdowns, just round numbers like $5,000 here, $10,000 there. Then there were checks made out to cash for emergency repairs, with no receipts attached. I cross-referenced old meeting minutes. Hargrove had pushed through that landscaping contract himself, claiming it was the best bid. But when I searched online for Green Horizon Services, the registered owner, Robert Hargrove's brother-in-law, conflict of interest much? I reached out quietly to a few trusted neighbors, including Sarah, a retired bookkeeper who lived down the street. She took a look and her eyes widened. "Alex, these numbers don't lie. There's padding everywhere." We requested more records. Bank statements, tax filings. That's when things got weird. Hargrove personally called me, all friendly like, "Hey buddy, why the sudden interest in finances? Everything's fine." But his tone had an edge. I played it cool, said I was just curious about where my dues were going. Undeterred, Sarah and I kept digging. We found canceled checks endorsed to Hargrove himself, disguised as reimbursements for board expenses. One was for $4,200 labeled conference travel. But there was no conference. We checked the HOA calendar. Then came the smoking gun. A wire transfer of $25,000 to an offshore account traced back to a shell company. How did we trace it? Sarah's son is a forensic accountant. He helped anonymously. The shell company, owned by Hargrove, hidden behind layers of paperwork. In total, over 5 years, he'd siphoned off at least $120,000. Money meant for our roads, our security gates, our community events. He used it for luxury vacations, a new boat, even home renovations on his own property. The man who fined us for petty violations was embezzling from the very funds we all contributed to keep our neighborhood running. The moment of truth came at the annual HOA meeting last fall. I'd gathered irrefutable evidence. Printed statements, traced transactions, even emails where Hargrove instructed the treasurer, his golfing buddy, to approve questionable payments. With Sarah and a dozen other fed-up homeowners by my side, I stood up during open forum. "Mr. President," I said, my voice shaking but steady, "can you explain why over $120,000 in HOA funds ended up in accounts linked to you and your family?" The room went dead silent. I projected the documents on the screen we'd set up. Gasps echoed as neighbors saw the proof. Hargrove's face turned beet red. He stammered denials. "Fabrications. This is slander." But when confronted with the bank records, he stormed out, threatening lawsuits. Chaos ensued. We called for an emergency vote to remove him from the board. Passed overwhelmingly. An independent audit confirmed everything. Embezzlement on a massive scale. We reported it to the authorities, police, state attorney general, even the IRS for tax fraud. Hargrove was arrested months later. Charges include grand theft and fraud. But here's where it turns dark. The repercussions hit me hard and fast. Almost immediately after that meeting, the retaliation began. Anonymous complaints flooded in about my property. Sudden violations for things that had never been issues before, like my fence color fading or a single weed in my flower bed. Fines stacked up, $100, then $300, then threats of liens. Drive-by inspections became daily. My car got keyed twice in our driveway. Hateful letters slipped under my door. "Mind your own business," and worse. Hargrove's loyalists on the old board, before we voted in new ones, delayed turning over records, making it harder to clean up the mess. Even after his arrest, his wife, still living in the neighborhood, spread rumors that I faked the evidence for personal gain. Some neighbors, scared of rocking the boat or loyal to the old regime, turned cold. Invitations stopped. Kids' playdates canceled. My wife worried about our safety. We installed security cameras. The stress was immense. Sleepless nights wondering if we'd have to sell and move. But we stayed. The new board, with honest folks like Sarah as treasurer, has recovered some funds through insurance and lawsuits. Repairs are finally happening. Hargrove's trial is pending, and restitution could help replenish our reserves. Standing up cost me friends and peace of mind, but it saved our community from further theft. If I'd stayed silent, who knows how much more he'd have taken. Looking back, this whole ordeal started with petty fines and escalated into exposing outright corruption. Our HOA president, the pillar of the community, was living large off our backs while enforcing rules like a dictator. Today, we're rebuilding lower dues, transparent finances, fair enforcement. But I'm still dealing with the fallout. Lingering fines from the retaliation period, which we're fighting legally, and wary glances from a few holdouts. It taught me that power without accountability breeds monsters, and sometimes one person speaking up can change everything, for better or worse. What do you think? Did I do the right thing even knowing the backlash? Have you ever uncovered corruption in your community or dealt with HOA retaliation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one. And if you've got your own HOA horror story, fines, power trips, secrets exposed, share it. Who knows, it might end up in my next video. If this resonated, hit that like button, subscribe for more real community dramas, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the updates on Hargrove's case. Thanks for watching. Stay vigilant out there, neighbors. See you in the next one.